Hey guys, today I thought instead of painting a lure, let's try to go a little bit more in depth in what it takes to get you from here to here. Well, I guess the place to start with this, guys, is going to be in the blanks themselves. The first two I started out with is a 1.5 and a 2.5 Squarebill. These are your basic everyday Squarebills that lots of companies make the same style of lures with these. One difference is a lot of the ones you buy in the store do not have rattles. These all have rattles inside. So you can hear you're going to get some noise with them. It's going to be a little bit different than your standard ones that do not have rattles you buy in the store. But painting my own lures got me looking at a lot of stuff and trying new stuff. One of the first ones was this. This is a Spro's Little John body style. This one's flat on the sides. This goes a little bit deeper, where the 1.5 and the 2.5 are about a 2 to 3 foot or 4 to 5 foot down. This will get you about 6 to 7 feet, maybe 8 depending on the line. I really like the action of this lure. It also comes with rattles. Something new I've tried, I probably wouldn't have tried if it wasn't painting. And that goes along with the S-Crank. Now the S-Crank was originally by Mega Bass. And that's, you go in the store and look at that, that's a $19 lure, which I probably wouldn't have tried. But I found an S-Crank body style in the blanks, started buying them. Real loud one here. And I'll tell you what, I've caught a lot of fish with this. So I really like this and glad I tried it. Okay, now that we got the blanks, let's move on to the paints. And we've discussed this before, using the Createx paint or use the Walmart paint. But I wanted to get into the different styles, whether it's Walmart, whether it's the Createx Opaque, or the Createx Transparent, or the Pearlized Createx, and how they differ just a little bit. When you want a general overall cover over the lure, the Walmart or the Opaque, they do that. They cover whatever was there before, they're going to cover over it and change the color. So the Createx, a lot of times in the white, is used as your base color to cover the lure the first time around. The pearlized colors, you've seen me use a lot of pearlized. I love just the shine or the sheen that you get from pearlized colors. I think that really, it not only does it look good when you put your clear top coat on, but in the water, I think you get a lot of it there too. Now, the transparents, even though they're colored, you can kind of see through them a little as a transparent. So here's an example. I'll take this lure, and first I'll put the base white coat on, and then I will paint the belly with a pearlized white. So when I put the pearlized white on, then I'm going to come back and I'm looking for this. So I'm looking for the yellow. I'll put the transparent yellow over the pearlized white instead of the opaque white. And it just gives that yellow, it just pops a little bit better with the pearlized colors underneath it. So it's something you can experiment with, but that's where the transparents act a little bit different than the opaque colors, because they'll let what's underneath it come through just a little bit. Something you can practice with, and you'll see the results once you try it a little bit. It's kind of hard to show it here and see it on pictures, but when you're doing it at home, you'll see a difference putting a transparent color over a pearlized color. Once I get down to what colors I'm going to do, then do I just paint your standard normal lure, or you've seen me put a lot of them with the wraps on them. So I've used 3 different wraps. The first one, this is your mesh. A lot of times I'll double this one over. You'll see a lot of other people that paint, they use this one also. And you wrap the lure with that, and then shoot the paint through it so it'll leave the marks on there. This wrap came from Hobby Lobby, and I found this in the fabric department at Hobby Lobby. It's a ribbon, they call it a ribbon. I've also used this one to give me different patterns. This one is at Walmart, and you'll find this in the floral section at Walmart. They'll use it to wrap artificial flowers. This one's got a lot of glitter on it, so you really got to work to get all the glitter off of it. But once you do, that's a nice pattern to shoot through. I see a lot of people using this type when they're doing it. And then one I haven't seen a lot of use, but I happen to find it, is this. Again, this is in the floral section, but back to Hobby Lobby again. I liked it because it had a lot of bigger holes in it, and I thought the pattern I got with it, I liked it a little bit better than some of the other ones. So that is the type of ribbons that I've used, 3 different types to use to wrap the lures to get different effects. Once you got the paint on, and whether you've used the ribbon or whatever you've got, we need some eyes. And your eyes you can usually pick up. Here's some red. I got some yellow, and I got some red with green. You can get all different kinds of colors and stuff like that. You'll kind of match the size. There's different sizes of eyes. Each lure, now the 1.5 will take a smaller eye than the 2.5. And I think I can use the S-crank about the same size. The Spro's Little John's a little bit different. Spro's Little John only has a half an eye. So what I end up usually doing there is I'll take this eye, lay one down, you got to cut them in half. And if you get lucky and get 2 halves the same, you get them both out the same. Otherwise, you end up sometimes using 2 eyes just to get 2 halves if you can't cut real straight. But the eyes have the sticky on the back. But if you watch the painting videos, I like to put a little dab of glue on there just to hold them a little bit better. Once the eyes are in and the paint's on and everything else, we're up to putting the 2-coat coating on. Now there's different ways to do that. Some have, what's it called? I think it's called KBS. It's a little bit thinner. You can dip it and then you hang them up. Sometimes they'll put a couple coats of that. A lot of people like to use the 2-part epoxy. That's what I use. This was what Bob Smith's. Again, I get this at Hobby Lobby. There's other varieties of it. This is a 30-minute 2-part epoxy. There's like a 5-minute. Don't get a 5-minute because you'll never get it all on beforehand. So, because even the 30-minute really doesn't last 30 minutes in order to put that on. And when you mix the 2 parts, you know, just a cheap, I buy 30 paintbrushes for $1 at Walmart. That's all you need to put this stuff on, because then you'll hang it up and it's going to work its way down so there won't be any brush strokes or anything like that in it. Now, we got it painted. We got the top coat, the eyes were all done. Of course, it needs hooks. So what are we going to do here? Well, I buy some from, a lot of this stuff right here from me comes from a company called Lure Parts Online. You can find most of your stuff in here. You'll have your split rings. This is a number 2 split ring. I like that. For the line tie on the front, I like to buy oval split rings. Now, I like the oval ones because a split ring always has a weak spot. It's always got a spot where there's only 1 line instead of 2. Well, on an oval split ring, that is always on the side, never on the end. So the weakest point of an oval split ring is always on the side. If you use an oval split ring for your line tie, the weakest spot can never be where your line is, because your line and the lure are always going to be on the ends, and the weak spot's going to be in the middle. So I like putting oval split rings on the front of the lures. Hooks, again, I've been doing mine multiple places. These happen to come from Lure Parts Online, and the reason is these are the hooks here. These are extra wide gap hooks. Your standard hook on a lure when you buy them are round bends. I went with extra wide gap. They tend to have a little better holding power. Sometimes when a fish is just swiping at the lures quick, you're going to miss them and you're not going to get them. But once you hook them, you usually hold them with the extra wide gap. The other thing I've liked about the extra wide gap is this S-crank would normally call for 2 number 4 hooks. A small lure like the 1.5 would be 2 number 6 hooks. And here you'd have 2 number 4 hooks. But because I go short shank, extra wide gap, I can actually use a 4 on the front, but I can go with a bigger number 2 on the back. If I was using standard round bend hooks, I'd have to use 2 4s, otherwise they'd get tangled together, and you know how we all hate that when they hook each other when you're trying to cast them. Now, that's the higher priced way to go with hooks, but you don't have to do that. Here's Eagle Claw, round bend, bought them at Walmart. I mean, right there's, I don't know, I think $4 for, what is it, 25 hooks or something like that. These are number 4s. These would work on the 2.5s. These would work on the S cranks. You can get number 6s at Walmart the same way. That's going to work on the Spro Little John or the 1.5. You can get your round split rings. You can get those at Walmart. They work all right too, but these that I get from Lure Parts are a little cheaper, and they're also stainless steel, so they're harder. They won't pull apart. I have seen the cheaper ones at Walmart. You can pull them, and you'll just pull them apart, so you'll lose what you got. But to get started, if you got a couple lures painted and you want to put some hooks on, hey, run down to Walmart, grab some split rings, grab some hooks, and you can put them on with what you got there. Now the interesting thing with split rings is getting them on the lure. So I use 2 things. One is a split ring pliers. And it's basically got a point in here. When you put the split ring in, you'll push down. That's going to separate the split ring and allow you to put it on. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It's interesting when you start. Once you get down to using one of these and figure it out, that'll help you out quite a bit. I also use a needle nose. Once I get the split ring started, then I'm usually switching over, grabbing a needle nose and pulling it on through the rest of the way. To give you a helpful hint, take your lure. I put my split ring on the front first. You're going to have hooks hanging all over later, so I start with the one on the front. I put the hook set on the front, get the split ring just started, and you can see it where you just got to start it through, then grab your hook. And instead of taking the split ring all the way on and closing it back up while it's still separated and open, now take your hook and get it started, then take your needle nose pliers and pull the thing all the way through till they both get locked in at one time. That's a whole lot easier than getting that split ring put on, and now you got to open it back up again in order to start the hook. But I start here, then I do the back one last, and I guess I've done enough of them now. I've got a little better at it, but there's going to be a little cussing involved when you start out, because split rings and even the split ring pliers aren't the funnest thing to work with. This, I believe, by the way, I picked up at Hobby Lobby. So, but I'm sure there's other places you can get it. But it's a split ring pliers. A lot of places you go, if you try to go to a Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot split ring, they know what a snap ring pliers is. None of those people understand what a split ring pliers is. So Hobby Lobby will get you that. But that's about it. That takes us from the blank to the paint, to the wrap, to the eyes, to the top coat, and eventually to put the hooks on, so you actually end up with a lure that you can take out fishing. Thanks for sticking with me. Subscribe to our channel if you would. Hope to see you again real soon.